Hey everyone, this is Jordan with Sith Saber Props, and I have an absolute treat with me today. This is my new personal lightsaber, and it's from Starfall Sabers. Starfall Sabers is widely known for their very accurate, very beautiful Rancor Tooth lightsabers, something similar to Tenel Ka's lightsaber from the Legacy Legends Expanded Universe era. But Starfall Sabers is really best known for his way of making sabers. All of his sabers are made with found parts. Each saber is completely unique from the last. No two are alike or exactly the same. There are plenty of shared aspects between them, but every single saber he makes is different. And he doesn't repeat sabers. He makes small runs of like the Coda lightsaber, Ram Coda, and Imperial Knight, which you can find on his Etsy store. But really, he's known for making mystery sabers. And if you go to his Etsy shop right now at Starfall Sabers, you should be able to go ahead and find the mystery saber option, and it's up there for around $375, I believe. And what that is it's a completely random saber to you. Now, it's not randomized, of course, but he goes ahead and he makes you a mystery lightsaber using found parts, such as what we see here. It's a completely unique lightsaber, and there are no two like it. Some of them share similar qualities. Maybe he uses a similar piece of piping on one, or a similar kind of, button screw box section, or maybe even a similar chrome piece on a few of them. But no two are exactly the same. And it really speaks to the original design philosophy of the lightsabers, where you didn't have a lightsaber made of pieces that were designed to be lightsaber pieces, designed to look like a lightsaber, such as that, or maybe this, but you had a lightsaber look like a lightsaber as a result of its design, because it was made using pieces that, weren't inherently designed to belong to a lightsaber, but when you put them together just right, you get that look. And that's really what we have here. I absolutely love this hilt. The install in it was a bit tricky, but I was able to get it done, and I got something very special done with it. It's a 1-inch interior diameter hilt all the way through, except for a choke point section right here, which is about 0.60 inches interior diameter. So really nothing but wires can fit through that section. I have a dual tactile switch right here from RGB Custom Sabers. I was originally going to do a single switch mode with a lighted 5mm accent LED switch, one of the ones from the Custom Saber shop. But upon looking at my switches I had in stock and seeing a few of these, I kind of just put it next to it and realized it would look good. I epoxied a nut right below it onto the hilt itself and added the switch on top of it, so it's a little raised, but it's really nice. And I think that ends up fitting the saber very well. I also went ahead and made a custom blade plug using a speaker skeleton from a Saber Essentials 28mm base speaker. I had one that a customer sent to me, but it was kind of loose in the box and it got punctured, so it was just a dead speaker, so I tore it all apart, and you now have this little skeleton right here, and this blade plug just kind of fits the look of the saber, of the silver and, for the emitter, and the black accent, which kind of fits the shroud piece right here. And that's really where one of the nicest parts of the saber come in. The shroud piece. What you can see is there's a slight taper to it. It's very subtle, but it's there. And it just adds so much volume to the lightsaber itself when you hold it. Having that small taper, it really, if it was just straight, it would have looked gorgeous still, but it really adds so much. The pommel is stunning. The design of it, it's wonderful. I absolutely love this saber. It's slender, the grips are nice, it's just so easy to hold, and it's loud as fuck. Now, let's go ahead and pull it out of its deep sleep mode. What you can see in there is part of the crystal chassis I did. That was part of what was special about this saber, was I want all my personal sabers to have a crystal chamber, and this one, of course, being no exception, but it was a little more difficult to get this one done. I'll show you that in a bit, but let's go ahead and ignite the saber with the bottom switch right here. Using a 22mm bass speaker, it ends up being louder than my previous personal saber in some aspects with the 28mm bass speaker. If you had both of them on at the same font, there's more bass on the 28mm speaker, but this one just has a louder volume.
Sound energy critical.
As you can see, I need to charge the saber clearly. Let's go ahead and get into the spectrum. Let's switch it to pink. One of my favorite things about Starfall Sabers is that every saber is unique, but sometimes I can't help but, looking at Expanded Universe characters and seeing if I can find a lightsaber similar to this one. And the only one I can really think of might be Set Hearth, a Dark Jedi from Bane, Dynasty of Evil. He was quoted by his previous Jedi Master and the Jedi Council as possibly being the most dangerous man in the galaxy, as they were unaware of the existence of Darth Bane and his apprentice Zana. But he's a very interesting, very charismatic, swashbuckling, dark Jedi character, really in it for himself, running around, exploring, finding Sith artifacts and Jedi artifacts, and he's a very fun character. And I look at this lightsaber and I think of him. I think of the simplicity of his character, or the simplicity of, a rogue Jedi's lightsaber. Something that's easy to maintain, kind of has a tactical, look to it. I'm not a fan of tactical things, but, this has that look. And, what's more is it looks like a lightsaber you can throw easy. And that's the big thing of Set Hearth, is that he was a master of the lightsaber throw. It's his favorite move, favorite thing to do, was to throw a lightsaber. And he said it's a nearly unstoppable move, and when you read the book or you listen to the audiobook from Audible, Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil, you can really see that in the hands of Set Hearth, the lightsaber throw is amazing. It's an intense weapon. But really, that's the one character I can attribute this lightsaber to and have a good image in my head. Now, let's go ahead and start up here with the chassis. The chassis actually separates into two parts. So here's the speaker, blade plug. But if we go ahead and we do that and pop it out a bit, and what we get is our crystal chamber. Of course, the crystal chamber itself is RGB. It's wired as an accent LEDs, so it stays on when the blade's off. But it's a very small chamber. The entire module here with the chamber and this is only 1.75 inches, which leaves about 1 inch inside the emitter for the blade. But it's a very easy way and effective way to have gotten the crystal chamber done. You have your genuine quartz crystal there. I went ahead and special cut and faceted that for the saber. Everything's fitted together with these rods going up through the heatsink, and I actually made fittings inside the heatsink itself to have those rods there, and you just have all the wires from the LED going straight down the back of this. Let's go ahead and pull this back in. You can see it. You have orange right there, and then going up to purple. If we get to blue, there's your blue. And there's your green right in there. Let's switch it back to the purple. Now let's go ahead and look at the lower chassis. We have the little bit of the speaker module. It's a very nice look. I always like having a bit of the chassis come out. the end of the saber. It just looks right to me when you take the pommel off and you have the chassis there. But there we go. Here's our battery. We keep pulling it out. There is our recharge port. And if we untwine this some, get some slack, and we can get to the LED module, or not the LED module, but the soundboard, which is up in this section right here. Not gonna pull it all the way out. We get the idea, but you know, it allows you to go ahead and pull the chassis all the way out, and you can get to the SD card access, which is actually all the way up in here. The soundboard's facing this way with the SD card closer to the emitter than otherwise. So what that ends up meaning is you end up having a lot of the opposite ignitions. So if you have a ignition where, you know, it's supposed to sound different depending on the orientation of the blades, you get a lot of the opposites because the board itself is actually technically flipped backwards. Well, let's go ahead and let's get a blade in this. Alright, so there's my new saber. I absolutely love this. The first time I opened this up, I had another saber from Starfall Sabers in there that I'll be installing, but the first time I opened this up and I held it in my hands, I felt for the first time in my life that I held a real lightsaber. For all the saber installs I've done, all of the lightsabers I've held, the ones I've owned, this was the purest. This is the purest expression of a lightsaber I've ever held in my life. I don't think anything compares. It was intense, and it's amazing, and I absolutely love this hilt. And I'm gonna be hard pressed not to buy all of my own personal hilts from him now, because it's just incredible. I'm gonna grab something special real quick right here. This was my first ever lightsaber. My dad made it for me when I was 4 years old. It's aluminum piping with a broomstick handle for a blade. We couldn't really afford, you know, all the nice toy ones. $10, $15, $20. We had a few. We had, you know, episode 2 Dooku, Obi-Wan, the episode 1 Qui-Gon, the ones that lit up at least. But these were the ones that I played with from when I was 4 all the way up to when I first got my very first illuminated saber. And this was the hilt that I got from Starfall Sabers. It's not an exact replica, of course. They're not exactly the same in any way, but it's a close enough approximation to what was naturally, to me, a lightsaber from the time I was 4 years old to now. And it was amazing being able to just get this. Now, when I chose it, because I bought this one secondhand, it was on a wall in a blurry image, and I couldn't see any of the details. I had no idea the grip was knurled. I didn't know there was a chrome piece on it. I really didn't know anything about it. But I saw it, and I saw the profile of it, and I wanted it. I realized that I'm really interested in what that is. And, you know, I'm happy. I'm eternally happy with this. And this is easily my pride and joy. My old daily driver and my new one. It's a world of difference to me. Thank you for watching, and may the Force serve you well.